Sony proves to us that when we think the Walkman can't be revolutionized anymore, it is.
We had the pleasure of reviewing this tiny DAP that's packed with features and can literally fit in the palm of your hand. Let's check out what this little tiny DAP can do.
Let's think back to the very first iteration of the Sony Walkman in 1979. Effortlessly portable, it was a handheld device made for anyone craving music on the go. If it was a challenge to see just how small and portable the Walkman could get, Sony's won first place. So, Ricky, what are some of your first impressions?
So, right off the bat, the size of the A306 is something to get excited about. It's small enough to fit in your back pocket and can easily be grasped in one hand with a coffee in the other.
That's the perfect size for me. I've become a master juggler trying to balance my phone, keys, and wallet in my hands. The A306 is the smallest Walkman to date, and we say to date with anticipation that Sony will outdo itself once more in the future. For it to be that small, it's gotta be fairly light, right?
Yep, so it is relatively lightweight at around 4 ounces and has pretty much all the functionality you need in a portable music player. Given the overall size of the A306, the screen is quite small, only 3.6 inches, so it might be an issue for anyone who plans to use the keyboard frequently. Luckily, there is a functionality to auto-rotate the screen to allow for a better viewing experience. It's got a sleek matte black backing with subtle ridging that can help with the overall grip of the DAP.
And for the nostalgic, Sony's thrown in a cassette tape UI as a playful nod to the portable music revolution. The NW-A306 features a cassette tape user interface and screensaver. Note, the visual display varies depending on the codec of the music that you're listening to.
On the right side, you'll see that Sony has managed to pack on 7 functionality buttons. In order from top to bottom, you've got the power on-off button, volume controls, pause and play with track skipping, and a hold switch.
Well, I might be showing my age here, but what's a hold switch?
Okay, well, when it's turned on, the hold switch deactivates all of the functionality buttons, so you don't have to worry about accidentally skipping a song right when it gets to the best part.
Okay, yep, I hate when that happens.
On the bottom, you'll find the mini headphone jack, USB-C type charging port, and a micro SD slot. The A306 comes with 32 gigs of internal storage with an option to add an SD card. It supports all major file formats, including MQA.
Nice. Features-wise, the A306 is supported by Android and compatible with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Simply log into and create a Google Play account to begin downloading music, apps, and games. Wireless connectivity via Bluetooth is made easy with the ability to connect wireless headphones in the music player's settings or through Sony's Headphones Connect app. For music streaming, the A306 has wired and wireless connectivity. It can be connected with a mini headphone jack and via Bluetooth connection with SBC, LDAC, aptX, aptX HD, and AAC. LDAC is the preferred Bluetooth codec for the A306. Ricky, tell us about the battery life, something we're all anxiously awaiting.
Yeah, so the battery life of the A306 is relatively long, influenced by Bluetooth and what's being run. From a dead battery, it took roughly about 3.5 hours to fully charge the 306. To help conserve battery life, Sony has an auto power off and screen timeout functionality. When used in Bluetooth mode, Sony estimates up to about 11 hours of playback in FLAC, LDAC, and up to 22 hours in MP3 and SBC. You can stretch the battery life a bit further in a wired connection, getting up to 36 hours of playback depending on the music service app and the file type.
As far as it goes for setup, the initial setup of the A306 was fairly painless. Once signed into your Google account, it grants you the option to transfer over all apps and data associated with your account. You can upload songs to the music library and listen to music without a Google account, but you won't be able to download any music streaming apps. Similar to an Android and iPhone's quick settings pull-down menu, the A306 allows you to pull down a menu with various controls like volume, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and auto-rotate for quick access. Let's talk about the A306's sound impressions. Sony likes to keep the specs of their internals under wraps, so while we might not know the exact chipsets inside, that's okay. What we do know is that Sony implements a number of sound enhancements with their music player. The NW-A306 player itself is natural sounding enough. I wouldn't classify it as warm like its other higher-end siblings. The real charm of the portable music player comes out when paired with extremely efficient IEMs or headphones, and the wireless connection is a huge component of this music player, since that's where a lot of Sony Sony's proprietary sound enhancements really take full effect.
Sony is packing the features for users to choose how they want their music to sound. The A306 gives you the option to turn on various sound settings such as AI-powered DSEE Ultimate Upscaling, Vinyl Processor, Clear Audio Plus, and more. For those who love the warmth and character of vinyl, the Vinyl Processor function strives to subtly reproduce the low-frequency resonance, tone arm resistance, and surface noise of vinyl. DSEE actually does a great job at perceivably upscaling the audio. I dare say I preferred it most of the time when I was listening to rock. Clear Audio Plus is another interesting sound enhancement from Sony, offering more space and detail with the track, though I found varying effectiveness of this based off of what I was listening to. Most of the time I didn't use these enhancements, and I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything, which I consider the highest praise for this device specifically.
I feel like a lot of those features and sound enhancements are aimed at the typical consumer audio lover, right? Like, give me some bass boost, some upscaling, you know, blah, blah.
Okay, in the right context, these enhancements can sound pretty good, but don't expect them to magically make your 92 kbps MP3s sound like DSD files.
For the testing setup, we used the Sony NW-A306 DAP with the Sony MDR Z1R headphones with a Black Dragon premium headphone cable. We also tested the DAP with the Meze Advar IEMs, and we also tested the wireless connection of the A306 DAP with the Sony WH-1000 XM5 wireless noise canceling headphones and used a Bronze Dragon portable cable for a wired connection. I think we can both agree that the A306 performs at its best in a wireless setup via Bluetooth connection. When paired with the XM5s, the bass was visceral yet punchy. It leans on the warmer side of things for the most part, but still picks up detail and has really good instrument representation.
Absolutely. When the A306 was used in a wired setup, there was a noticeable change in the volume output. The A306 drove the MDRs, but not very well. The bass was low, and turning up the volume didn't make much of a difference. Because of the limitations on volume, some quiet parts of the music were lost. Tiny details that many analytical listeners look for were glossed over.
Yeah, when I initially plugged in the A306, the volume level defaulted to a 50, and when I tried to raise it to 80, a message appeared on the screen that read, "Check the volume level," and reverted it back down to 50 and stopped the music. But after the initial volume level warning went away, there were no additional messages.
So within the settings, the A306 has an automatic volume limiter system, the AVLS, that can be turned on and off, but it doesn't default to being turned on. This is a standard feature for most Sony digital music players.
Well, I like my music nice and loud. Loud enough so that I can hear the falsettos of American singer, songwriter, and producer Charlie Puth. He's known for incorporating his falsettos in almost every song. And unfortunately, it was something that was lackluster and almost lost in the A306 when used wired. Right after the breakdown in his song The Way I Am, Puth adds an energetic electric sound to throw some punch in there right before throwing you back into the chorus. As one of the tiniest details in the song, it can be easy to miss if you're not listening for it, but in the case of listening to this song on both the MDRs and the XM5s, it was ever so present in the XM5s, but compressed and hidden in the MDRs.
Well, the A306 really shined with naturally warmer songs. Somewhere With You by Kenny Chesney is on the slower side compared to some of his other country hits. The song features the same 4 chords played throughout, with Chesney going back and forth between slightly rapping the verses and singing the emotionally charged chorus. With the MDRs and the XM5s, Chesney's rather monotone delivery is lively and engaging. There's a nice representation of all instruments, as a piano nestled in the back isn't lost among the electric guitar and the drums.
So, we know they sound good, but the critical factor here is whether the A306 can effectively power your headphones if you choose to use them via the analog out. You'll find lots to love with the A306's natural sound and how it works well with pretty much every genre out there.
So country, classical, and rock were particular favorites, but if you're using the A306 wirelessly, you won't have any trouble with anything you throw at it. Power is really the only drawback for analog users wishing to use full-size headphones. The SR35 here is the natural consideration when comparing two under $1,000 music players. Like Sony, Estelle & Kern is premium and offers a lot of sound customization options for the user. Estelle & Kern packs a whopping 6 VRMS and balanced output into this tiny music player, which by all means blows the A306 out of the water if you're needing portable power. Estelle & Kern equips the SR35 with a quad DAC setup, and the real star of the music player is the ability to turn off 2 of the DACs, allowing the DAP to run in dual DAC mode for better efficiency and longer battery life. Also, the music player has 3 different headphone outputs as opposed to the A306's single unbalanced 3.5mm. Where the A306 shines, however, is the wireless connection, especially if you are pairing the music player with another Sony headphone like the XM5s. It's more portable, convenient, and Sony's proprietary wireless sound enhancements sound great for on-the-go travel.
We're also going to compare the A306 with the Sony NW-A306. With a 5-inch screen, up to 25 hours of playback, USB DAC function, and next-generation upscaling, the upgrades are apparent. The ZX707 has a warm, rich, and wonderfully clear sound that is especially good for rock, classical, jazz, blues, and vocals. The A306 is to be used more like a wireless music player if you're comparing the two. If wireless functionality and streaming is all you need, then the A306 is going to have no trouble doing what you want. However, if you're wanting more power for your full-size headphones, much better sound quality, a warmer and richer musical presentation, then the ZX707 music player is going to be your best bet.
Sony hasn't skimped on the A306 DAP. Despite its entry-level price of $348, the 306 is a premium product that excels particularly as a wireless streaming high-res device with compatible Sony headphones or earbuds. You'll certainly get the most from the little player through their proprietary wireless tech, and it's a perfect pairing with the popular XM5 ANC headphones. While it might not have the power to cut it with the harder-to-drive full-size headphones, it will work well with your IEMs and easy-to-drive headphones. The MDRs worked, but we only had a little headroom to work with in the end. Thankfully, the expandable micro SD gives you an opportunity to add more storage beyond the 18 usable gigs of internal. Apart from that, the A306 is a capable streaming player, especially if that's your primary source of daily listening.
When it comes to genres, if you're using the A306 wirelessly with a pair of headphones that is compatible with LDAC codec, there's really nothing holding you back. The A306 will handle every genre with ease as long as you're streaming high res. If you're limited to the internal power of the DAP for your headphones and IEMs, then rock, EDM, and R&B were some of our favorites, with most other genre recommendations determined by the headphone and or cable pairing. Sony's made the perfect portable DAP for anyone looking to listen to music hassle-free on the go. With its Bluetooth connectivity, you'll benefit from the ease of pairing your favorite wireless headphones or IEMs and enjoying high-resolution audio.
As an entry-level DAP, it's a great choice for those wanting to take their first step into the world of audiophilia and enjoy audiophile grade sound. This has been Ricky and Kayla with Moon Audio. As always, if you have any additional questions, drop a comment below and we'll be more than happy to answer. Subscribe to our channel and hit that bell so you don't miss any of our latest videos. Thanks so much for watching.